restless. So I remembered the first car I was supposed to get was a Vauxhall Astra, Opel Kadett Mark II. It was in white, 4 doors. It was a 2-door model. It was a 1.4L, and it had brown tinted glass. Me and my dad was an excellent mechanic. He was a senior mechanic actually. He come to see the car with me, and because I was nuts about cars for years, I kind of understood cars because my dad was teaching me, letting me help out with him servicing his cars and stuff. So, did I mention it had brown tinted windows? That's not something you'd get today, but I remember doing my research because I was limited due to my age for insurance purposes. Oh, have I got a story about a 323i BMW quote, which was a car I actually thought to buy before this, and my dad cleverly, he said, go on then, but make sure you get a quote from the insurance company before you buy it to make sure you've got enough money. He didn't spiv out or say anything like, don't be stupid, you'll never get insured on that. So I remember ringing up for that car. I can't remember that 323 because it was literally just an advert in a newspaper for a car for sale. I gave the details of the car. I don't think we went to see that car. So it was probably when I was like trying to decide, how much money to spend on a car, and I probably thought, yeah, okay. But I can't remember if it was an E30 from 1982 onwards, I believe. I believe they start in, you know what, I'm not sure. I think something like that. Yeah, because you used to get X-Reg E21 BMWs. So I was 82Y. Yeah, okay. So I knew the cars, and it wouldn't have been an E21. It was the E30 that I loved, and the 323 was the top for that sort of age range of car. But I think the Astra was a B-Reg. So because I'd rung up the insurance company, and I swear I heard them laughing on the phone when they said, right, we're just waiting for the computer to give us the quotes now. I'll just put you on hold. And I swear I heard laughing in the background when they came back. Something ridiculous like the price of the car or something. And my dad just said, well, now you understand why you can get, an Astra only, a couple of years newer for the price of a top of the range BMW 323, both of them in similar condition. So yeah, I picked out white one. White was always my favourite colour for a car. I don't know why, but it had to be a nice, cold white. I don't want none of that, beigey, creamy white colour. It has to be like iceberg white. Yeah, different companies had various things. So we went to see this car at Nobby and Dick's used car sales. I don't know if it was used car emporium. It's a really stupid name because Nob means penis just as much as Dick does. So Nobby and Dick's used car sales. But I think it was in the Enfield Advertiser. Yeah, they seem to have the better cars. The Edmonton, whatever it was called, they had like cheaper, more rubbish, more knackered cars because people were poorer compared to Enfield. So, yeah, and it was pretty much identical to this car here. Now the seats seem quite great to this, on these pictures here. But if you look closely at the pictures, it's just the way the photographs came out. They're sort of like very pale, sort of like milky coffee and grey colour. So, yeah, not particularly nice. And it had the not the round circles in the hubcaps. It had the other hubcaps, which is like, 4 equal signs. So we had to look at this car. I really liked it. I remember we left the deposit, and it may have been over the weekend we went to see it, because obviously my dad would have been working in the week and we didn't go late. Well, we might have, I'm not sure. It's the thing about memories, they're precious, you have to record them. So I think the car was £2,000, I think. I'm not 100% sure. There's no point asking my dad. He won't remember. I remember going home and thinking, yeah, I'm looking forward to this car. Because I'd done my research, I'd looked it up. The Vauxhall 1.4 was closer to the Escort Mark III Escort 1.6 carburetted engine compared to the 1.3. But as far as the insurance goes, there was very little difference between the 1.3 Escort. So I think that's why I got that, on my list. And well, anyway, in another video, if I find them damn pictures, we could do one on what was my actual first car. But yeah, the brand tinted windows, those chunky controls. My dad probably would have been with me and I test drove it. I don't think he test drove it for me. But he might have, because he did test drive my first actual car, which could have been another strategy, because I remember asking him, is it fast enough? And he was like, yeah, it's fine. And yeah, it certainly wasn't fine. But the car looked nice, so, and the insurance was dirt cheap. So you can guess, that was an Escort 1.1 litre Mark III. I think that was an 82 as well. But it was white, and it had kind of like an XR3i look to it. It didn't have XR3i wheels, but the rest of the exterior was XR3i. Spotlights, the boot spoiler, the rear tailgate wiper, that kind of stuff. But I digress. So this is, the car that basically I was expecting to go and pick up. Now, it may have been that my dad insisted they go and put a brand new MOT on it or something like that. Or it may simply have been like, we'll come and collect it on Monday. Now here I'm not 100% sure, because I'm not sure if the garage called or we just went to the garage. I think we called them, because we would have had to go to the garage anyway. And they said, sorry, the car's been sold, because someone just came and offered to pay for it in cash. So we may have gone on a Saturday, and this may have happened, first thing on a Monday or later on a Saturday. Probably would have been a Saturday afternoon. See, the memories are not exactly there, but so we literally went to go and get our deposit back. It was kind of like a local thing, probably a mile or two away. It's a shame really, because I was actually really looking forward to that car. Never had a Mark II Astra, never had any kind of Astra. Had a Mark II Cavalier and a Mark III Cavalier, which is kind of egg-shaped like this car. That was in white as well, both of them actually. Yeah, so it's weird. I kind of hadn't thought about that for a very long time. The seats were quite firm, actually, although they you know, they do look quite sculptured there for, you know, the base L model, which didn't have the rev counter. The first car I got that had a rev counter was actually the second car I actually owned, bought, however you want to put that. And that was fueled jet. That was quite a step up actually. You know, Mark III Escort 1.1 couldn't even do a wheel spin in the bloody thing without putting Einstein levels of you know, intellect to that problem. I only had a 4-speed gearbox, and you couldn't even break the speed limit going on a downhill incline on the motorway on the way to Southend, which was pretty much the first major trip I did in the car. I used to drive to you know, college and back, but I think I spent about £2.50 a week on petrol. It's ridiculous. It's only a 1.1. But I went straight from that, which someone drove into the back of in a very expensive Mercedes SEC Coupe Sec, and yeah, I don't want to remember that. Well, I do want to remember that, but I won't go into that. But the seats were quite firm anyway, so yeah, we're getting off topic a bit now. It's kind of like sculptured foam, you know, the stuff you put the, you know, the fake flowers in. Not necessarily plastic. They could be the silk ones, you know, like those green blocks of hard foam. It's kind of like sculptured like that, with like some cloth on it. Not that bad. But yeah, I was really looking forward to having that car, because I think I borrowed my dad's car once, and because he nearly had a fucking aneurysm because I was 5 minutes late coming home, because he did let me borrow it, but that might be because my friends were arseholes. Oh well, I'll just shoehorn in the memory there. I remember driving on Church Street, yes, and we're driving, and I'm driving along, I don't have my headlights on. Now the weird thing is, whether I had the headlights on or off, it made absolutely no difference to what I could see. The street lights were there, and I was like, well, why would you have headlights on? I should point out I had the most amazing eyesight back then. And that's not a memory, I know that for a fact. So I was driving around and people would like flash me a couple of times, and I said, why are they flashing me? And my mate said, because you ain't got your lights on. I was like, I thought you only put the lights on, you know, as a preference. You know, and you'd only put the side lights on, so the, you know, the dashboard and the instruments and everything light up so you can see them. But I didn't have any problems. Like I said, I had incredibly good eyesight in all ways, not just focusing and detail. It's just like, you know, low light levels, tolerance to bright things. It was like the difference between the JVC shitty camcorder, well, it wasn't shitty at the time, that they had in Back to the Future compared to, like, you know, a top of the range broadcast quality camera used by the BBC. That's the kind of difference between average and what I had. And God struck me down with a horrible disease that destroyed that. Anyway, so I was kind of looking forward to this car. And it was a real disappointment, I must admit. Like, not just because you have to go through all that stuff again, you know, looking in the paper, trying to find something that don't, you know, isn't complete shit, but you can actually get it insured. And I did actually quite like the styling on the two-door one. You know, for the time. I'm not going to tell you what year exactly it was, but the car was only about half a decade old, roughly. And little sneeze there. Didn't bother to do the super Death Star exploding initiation of the explosion effect. And you got to have a bit of my cat purring, so there was that. But those controls are the same on the 1.8 litre Mark II Cavalier SRI I had, which was also 1983-84 era. It had a different steering wheel, but the rest are like, obviously a rev counter, but the rest of the controls are all the same. They're very, it's hard to describe them. They're just completely different to the Ford ones at the time, even though you're paying about the same. So, yeah, this would have been my first